Alright guys, welcome back to the channel today. Now, two quick little things before we get into this episode. The first is that Uncle from Another World did release its episode today, finally. I don't know why it didn't come out on Wednesday, but it just didn't. But the episode is out now, so I will be doing that tomorrow. Just to give you guys some heads up about that. If you've been waiting for that, it will come tomorrow. And the second is that I've been saying this for a while, but I am finally back into the Danmachi light novel. I've been saying I would be for a long time, but I finally got back into it. Now, if you guys remember, I told you guys I stopped at volume 7, which I did. I read that volume, and that's where I ended at. So I'm reading volume 8 right now, which I know it's a bunch of side stories, but in my opinion, I thought, if I'm gonna read this, I can't skip a volume. So I'm gonna go through that. And I make this promise to you guys now that before the end of this season for Danmachi, that I will be completely caught up to it. And based on how this episode was today, I'm really looking forward to it. Also, shout out to Vux in the comments, who commented last week saying how this arc was going to be much darker and that there was going to be deaths. And they weren't kidding, bro. Like, what? What was the beginning of this episode? Let's get into it and talk about it, honestly. So, the episode really begins with Daphne's premonition. And as most of her premonitions are, it's not good. The whole party's wiped out. Everyone is dead. Everyone's dead. On the ground, just completely eviscerated. And it's pretty like, damn, we're really doing this, huh? It's pretty bad. And she's narrating the whole time, saying how a great calamity will befall them. How it looked like a new monster came out from the dungeon and completely wiped everyone out. And that an elf will be a harbinger of destruction and ruin for them all. And it was Ryuu that appeared in there. The only one that didn't get wiped out in the thing was Belle. But it was a crazy opening to the episode. And what did I say? What did I say literally last week about how I think it's dumb that no one listens to Cassandra's premonitions? I literally said that last week in the video. That I think it's really dumb that no one ever listens to her. And it's kind of wild, man. So we had an episode focused solely on Cassandra, actually, worrying about her premonition. So let's just get into it and talk about Danmachi Season 4, Episode 7 today. So our episode begins with Cassandra waking up from this horrific dream, actually, and being informed by Daphne that there has been a murder in town. So they go and investigate, and it's pretty gruesome. This guy had his tendons in his wrists, in his ankles cut. So he wasn't moving. He couldn't use his hands or his arms, and he couldn't walk anymore. He was done. He was immobile. And he had cuts all over his body. He was stabbed multiple times, very gruesomely. And the adventurers are gathered up, trying to figure out what happened. But then we get one adventurer who comes forward and swears, like, gets in people's faces and says, it was the gale wind. It was her for sure. I saw her do it. I saw her run off. I'm completely sure of it. We have to go kill her right now. Now, everyone there from that Team Hestia is kind of shook. They're all thinking to themselves, like, there's no way it could be Ryuu. There's no way it could be her. Even Boris, who's in the party down here, who lives on this floor, is literally saying, let's not be hasty. If it is the gale wind, I don't want to mess with her. She's a top tier adventurer even among the level 4s. Like, I don't want to mess with her. But then he starts hearing people whispering that, yeah, she's got a huge bounty on her head. You know, she's got like, what, 80 million? He's like, let's form a squad and kill her. Just offer the money, baby. But Belle steps forward and swears. He swears that there's no way that Ryuu would do something like this. And the one adventurer that started all this is getting in his face saying, are you calling me a liar, kid? You saying I'm lying to everyone here? And Belle says no, but this can't be how it is. Now, Belle in this situation, as this guy's getting in his face, actually brings up a great point. Like, do you remember the Goliath that attacked this floor in the first season? And he tries to make the point that the Gale Wind was in that battle. She was a part of that. Like, how could you say this? But before he could finish that, Aisha actually comes up and pulls him aside, telling him it's not worth it. It's not worth getting into this discussion right now. So she takes Belle off, and the rest of Team Hestia actually come together to kind of talk about this, to form a consensus about what to do in this situation. And as I said earlier, they're all shook by this situation. A lot of them here actually have personal experience with Ryuu, so they just can't believe that she would do that. But the evidence is definitely pointing in that fact, in that way. But Lily and Daphne actually have some points of interest they want to talk about. Again, they start talking about all the cuts on his body, how his tendons were cut in his wrists and his arms. And they say that that was almost certainly done by Ryuu, which it probably wasn't. Aisha even says that she cut those so he couldn't get away, that she was probably interrogating him. Which is true. We know that to be a fact. And the fact that all the other wounds on his body, all the slashes and stab marks, are inconsistent with the cuts on his legs and arms. They're just too different. So they suspect someone else actually came in and finished him off after Ryuu was done interrogating him. And Belle chimes in and says, to be blunt, I don't believe this Turk guy. That's the name of the adventurer that was shouting and getting in people's faces earlier, trying to instigate in a way. And he even brings that up, like, this guy was too vocal about this. He tried to rally people behind this cause almost too much about it. And he even brings up the battle on the 18th floor again to everyone, how Ryuu, if you remember, was a huge part of that fight. She really stood out. She was by far one of the people putting in the most work against the Goliath. If he was really there in that fight, or if he was, he would know what she looks like. He would know. He would have a clear visualization of what she looks like. So the fact that he can't really say that right now is incredibly suspicious. And at the end of the day, Belle just doesn't believe that Ryuu would do something like this. Which I don't believe she would either, but I'd say I'm 50-50. Because we know about her past and what's happened. Oka even mentions that in here. Because you can't just not mention that. How after her party was wiped out, that she went around killing all the people that were involved in it. That has to be mentioned. You can't rule that out. That it's not impossible, it's her, just highly unlikely. So it's here that Lily suggests they actually join the squad that's out to look for her and exterminate her. She suggests they join them. And Welf kind of breaks it down a little bit more for us, saying, yeah, we join them so we can find her. And then when we do, we pull a fast one over them and try to get to her before anyone else so we can talk to her and figure out, all right, what the hell is going on here? Like, what are you involved in? Because Belle believes she's involved in some unsavory business, to say the least. That she got dragged into something bad. Right now, we don't know, but that's what they strongly believe. So they decide to go with this plan. Now, it's here we get a little scene with Hestia and Mitch on the surface, actually. Just enjoying their time, you know. Their parties are down, or their familia is down in the dungeon. They don't really have anything to do right now. But all of a sudden, Hestia gets a letter informing them about what's going on down there, about how Ryuu was suspected of murdering someone and how they've been swept up in the party to try to hunt her down and kill her. And they want Hestia to investigate something on the surface. Which makes total sense, honestly. If they're down in a frenzy down here, they can probably get a lot of decent answers up top. Like if they go to the Benevolent Mistress or something, you know? Mamma Mia's bar. So they've asked Hestia to gather info on the surface while they're down there trying to find her. Now this entire episode today, Cassandra has been freaking out. This is the worst we've probably seen her in this situation. Because this premonition was so strong this time. She feels it so strongly. She believes it's going to happen so much that she's been flipping her shit the whole episode, basically. Trying to get them to not go on this expedition for her, no matter what. Doing anything she can to try to stop them. And again, I don't understand why they don't at least hear her out with these premonitions. I don't understand that. That is like a pet peeve of mine watching this. Like, it's so stupid. It's so dumb not to. Like, I kind of get it since some of them aren't proven right, but to not hear them out is foolish. And once she decides that I can't not make everyone go, I have to go myself to try to fix what I can along the way. So that's what she spends the majority of her episode doing, actually, is trying to not have Team Hestia go into super dangerous situations to try to steer clear of this premonition. Now, they're all down on the 21st floor right now through the jungle area looking for Ryuu, but they've found really nothing so far. And it's in this moment they get attacked by a bunch of mammoth creatures, actually. But Cassandra is still not even concerned about that. She's concerned about the premonition. She actually pulls Wealth aside and says, I'd like you to make a certain item to give the bell. Because with my premonition, I feel that he's going to be the one that gets swept up in this situation. He always goes overboard trying to help other people. He's bound to get himself hurt doing this eventually. And I'm very worried about him. So please, can you make him a certain weapon or a certain piece of gear? And Wealth, obviously he doesn't like it because he only wants him to wear his gear ever. But he does reluctantly agree because he knows how Bell is. He knows that he will go overboard and get himself hurt. So he does agree to make an armament for him. Now, Bell, throughout the episode today, has been kind of paying a little more attention to Cassandra because he realizes that something's up with her. He even comes up to her at one point and says, hey, if there's something you need to talk about, we might be from different familias, but you can talk to me about it. Right now, we're in the same party. So you gotta let me know if something's bugging you. And that's just good old Bell, man. But while they're down here, they hear a huge rumbling from one of the other floors. From one of the lower floors, actually. So they run back down there. And we go back to the Great Falls area that we were just at with the Moss Huge in our previous episode. Now, when they head back to the Great Falls area, Cassandra is instantly weary because what she saw in her premonition happens at the base of the Great Falls on the 27th floor is where this tragedy is supposed to take place, actually. So as the other adventurers try to form a party to head down to the 27th floor to figure out what this huge, impacts are, she's urging everyone, please, don't everyone all go here. And she's making up any excuse that she can. And luckily, they're working. They're working. We even get a funny one where she tells Aisha, don't go down there. We need you to stay up here and carry Haruhime because she's so freaking heavy. I feel bad for Haruhime, man. She got attacked for no reason today. But it just shows you how seriously she's taking this situation and how much she really believes this is going to happen. And I believe it too, frankly, that's going to happen. And it's here that she determines that, or should I say the group determines that Bell should be the only one to go down to the bottom floor and that everyone else will wait up here. And it's here that Wealth gives him the item that Cassandra asked him to make for him. So, and it's actually a scarf, apparently, made out of Lily's cloak. Which, for the purpose of, I'm not sure what its purpose is yet, but I'm sure it will be effective at some point. And that's how our episode ends, actually, right there. With Belle about to go down there and investigate what that is. And I thought this was a good episode. This was kind of a setup episode, and to really showcase Cassandra a bit. Because throughout our whole show, we really haven't gotten much from her. But her premonitions have always been in the background of the show. Some coming true, some not. And the fact that this episode really focused on one today, I kind of like. Because they need to listen to her, damn it. Come on, man. It's so foolish not to. But so far, at least, they've avoided tragedy. But we'll see how long that goes. You guys let me know what you think of this episode down below. What do you believe is going to happen? Do you believe it's going to go exactly as Cassandra thinks? Or do you think there's going to be little variations, like I do personally? that some things are going to happen and some aren't. So you guys let me know down below. But as I said, guys, yeah, I'm back in the Danmachi, the light novels, and I really can't wait to get to this part, actually. I'm really looking forward to getting to this arc in particular, because I did check it out already a little bit. One of the volumes is like 500 pages, and I'm just like, oh my lord. But I'm looking forward to reading it. So until next time, guys, I hope you have a great day, week, month, and year. And yeah, let's hope we all don't end up like how everyone is in Cassandra's vision. Let's hope we don't end up like that, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.